Well, today we're gonna hardly ever any planes fly over here, but right as soon as I start, here they come. Not a very speedy plane, son. Well, today we're gonna revisit this Sea-Doo GTX DI due to a propulsion inefficiency issue. Stay tuned. It seems like it's a pretty good boat, but I've got a couple of issues. Now, in the test ride, I was only getting 45 miles per hour, and I thought for some reason, and I didn't look at it, that I was using the learner key. Turns out that's not the case. I was using the actual key. I took it out again, and same thing. I'm getting about 45, 50, depending on the wind, and that's not a major thing for me. The one thing that is bothersome is right off a dig, it cavitates. Okay, if I'm doing 5 miles an hour and punch it, it's fine. It picks up and does fine. But straight from a standstill and you punch this thing, it cavitates really bad. And real quick, what cavitation is it's basically an interruption of the laminar flow of the water. So to make this jet ski, or PWC, or whatever you want to call it, go forward, it has to thrust water out of the back of it, which pushes against the other water, which pushes the boat forward. Any disruption in that flow is going to affect the performance of the boat. So if you're introducing air into the jet pump nozzle, it's gonna not have as much pressure pushing out, and that's what they call cavitation. So it's basically air bubbles or inefficiency of the prop, in this case an impeller. Jet skis, is a couple of reasons for this. The two major ones are going to be a wear gap between the internal impeller and the wear ring that's around. If the gap is too big or the impeller is damaged in any way, it will actually break the water down into its hydrogen and oxygen parts, and there's your oxygen, so it's full of air. Also, if the gap is too big, it just doesn't, it's not efficient. It's just water's going to want to go around it instead of push out the back. Secondly, and it's more common probably with the Sea-Doos, is there has to be a seal where the drive shaft comes out of the back of the engine into the jet pump, and that seal is there to keep water from rushing into the hull. On Sea-Doo they call it a carbon seal, and I'm going to show you that. The carbon seal is located at the back of the engine where the drive shaft comes through the hull. This is the carbon seal, and this is the boot. This boot is actually meant to keep pressure against the carbon seal. The carbon seal does two things. First thing is it keeps water from rushing into the hull, and the second thing is to keep air out of the jet pump flow. In other words, where this jet pump is, there's a tremendous vacuum pulling water and ejecting it out the back. That's what gives you thrust. Well, just like anything, electrical, water, air, people, they're always going to find the path of least resistance. So under this tremendous vacuum, if it can actually pull this back and suck air out of the hull instead of suck water, that's what it's going to do. Now you've seen the carbon seal. Let's see if we can get our eyes in here and see the distance on the impeller gap. I look in here, it's very difficult to see. I mean, it looks fine to me. But we're going to go ahead and pull this jet pump, and while we're at it, we're going to pull that carbon seal apart and fix anything that needs to be fixed. So I'm going to shine a light inside the impeller housing, and way deep inside there, the silver part, you can see the impeller. I'm going to try to put some light on the inside to see if we can see anything through it. So if I put a light inside, you can see how it glows around the impeller. That's your gap. Now that obviously has to meet specifications provided by Sea-Doo, and that's something we're going to have to get inside here and see if that's out of spec or there's any damage to the wear ring or the impeller itself. Now I should tell you, before ripping too much of this stuff apart, especially if it was fine and then all of a sudden you have cavitation, a blockage of this intake grate will cause it to. So let's say you ran over some seaweed or a plastic bag, or you sucked up an alligator, something, is blocking this. So obviously before you go too far, you want to check this grate and make sure there's nothing blocking it. Now that I got the grate out, I'm going to go ahead and take a look up inside of here and see if I see anything from this side. So if we're looking at our drive shaft, this is where it comes through the hull from the inside, and that's where you'd be sucking the air from. Now looking at this, I don't see any problems back here. It actually looks like it's in really good shape. Of course I'll measure it, but the gaps around the prop to the wear ring look perfect. The leading edge of the prop does have a little bit of damage to it, but nothing that would cause this problem. Before you pull the jet pump, there's a clip in here that has to come off, and it can be quite difficult to get it off, especially if you have nothing to push against. What I'm going to do is use a piece of brick up against my flywheel, and then a pry bar against the engine to that, and push that collar back. As you can see, there's a little clip in there. We'll go ahead and take that clip off, and then this sleeve will slide forward. Now we can go ahead and pull the jet pump. Next, remove these 4 17mm bolts, nuts. Now the kit I'm ordering is going to come with a new one of these collars, a new rubber. Well, this one feels pretty good, and a new carbon seal. One last thing you want to check while you get your drive shaft out on a flat level surface. She's bent. So when your drive shaft is bent, the problem that you're going to have is the end of this shaft is going to wobble, sort of like that. And that's where your seal is. That little stainless collar will actually be wobbling, and every time it does that, it's going to let a little bit of air in. So this drive shaft is not bent severely. I'm going to go ahead and throw it in my press and see if I can get it straightened out, just because I'm cheap and I don't want to buy another one. And we're going to replace the carbon seal and put this thing back together. This impeller, minus a few little nicks and scratches, is in excellent shape. So this is not the cause of our cavitation. It's definitely going to be in that seal and that drive shaft. Now, while I could certainly put a dial indicator on this to make sure that it's 100% true, it's definitely going to be good enough for where we need to be. So while I had the pump out, I went ahead and drained the gear oil. This stuff was nasty. Looked like it's been in there for a long time, and it also looked low. So I drained it out. Next, you're just going to put the jet pump on a, like as if it was sitting in the boat, level surface, and refill it with 75 W90 synthetic gear oil. You're going to keep filling it until it's level with the bottom of the hole. You'll let it sit for a few minutes and run down into the pump, and then re-top it off. Do that a few times until she's good. It may be difficult to see, but she's full to the bottom of the hole. Well, we got our kit. This one's made by Titan Performance Parts. I bought it off the Jungle website. It's like $54. And it comes with the boot, couple of new O-rings, a new clip, it's a much heavier duty flange, and then the actual carbon seal. Now this kit is for the DI, it's not for the Fortec version, and there were some complaints that this collar did not fit on the GTX DI shaft with the O-rings on. So it seems like it fits pretty good without them. Let's put the O-rings on and double check it. Now I'm going to do some dielectric tune-up grease. And I love this stuff for a lot of different reasons. It does do a great job at lubricating things without breaking them down, like rubber O-rings. Press that in there good. It's definitely tight fit, but I guess if you're trying to keep water out, that's what you want. Almost like a game getting this thing in here. You push one side in, the other side pops out. Who's gonna win? All right, we got them in there. Oh, yeah, they're right. That thing is tight. Oh, oh, no way. No way. Alright, so with this kit, these O-rings are just way too big. I cannot get this thing on the shaft. Well, as it turns out, I wish I probably would have paid more attention to the reviews. This does not fit. There's no way to get it on this shaft. It just doesn't fit. It's not machined properly. So, back to the drawing board. Well, I guess we're ready to try this again. I sent back that other kit, and looking at a bunch of them online, unfortunately all the aftermarket collars look to be machined the same. Obviously I didn't buy them, so I don't really know 100%, but they all appear to have that really thick wall, so I'm going to assume that they're the same. My collar is actually in pretty good shape, so I just cleaned it up, polished it up a little bit. I got a new carbon ring from WSM aftermarket. And I got a set of factory OEM O-rings to go on the inside of the collar. My boot's really tight and in really good shape, so I'm going to reuse that as well as my clip. And again, put a little bit of this Permatex dielectric grease. Doesn't need to be Permatex. A lot of manufacturers make it, but this stuff's great for O-rings. Well, let's see if this one will slip on. Yeah, fits perfect. Put a little bit of marine grease on our splines. Now at this point we have to reinstall our jet pump because there's nothing that holds the drive shaft in. So if you try to press back on that collar, it's just going to push the drive shaft back out again. Again, on our rubber seal, I'm going to go ahead and put some dielectric grease on that as well. And also where these water passages go, we'll just put a little bit. Now before we put our jet pump back in, we want to make sure that this seal and these two seals are in place and in good shape. If they're not, they're torn or missing or flattened out too bad, you definitely want to replace them. This is how the engine gets its cooling, so we definitely don't want to have those there. We'll set it in here, go underneath, and line our drive shaft up. And once you get the drive shaft back in where it can't push back, now you can slide your collar back. And we'll do the same trick we did last time. The brick up against the engine. Put some tension on that collar and get that clip back in. I'm going to use 2 bars just to make sure it goes back evenly. Snap that clip in. We've got a good, solid, square, tight seal between our carbon ring and our flange. That's what we want to have. Just the right amount of tension on it. While I'm in here, I'll go ahead and grease up my hub. Now we're ready to put the back part of our jet pump together, put the nozzle back on, clean this area up real good. There's a couple of O-rings up here you want to be mindful of. Hit that with a little bit of dielectric grease, and then the installation is reverse of removal.